It was not awards, but it was at the induction ceremony for the College Football Hall of Fame this past Monday and Tuesday night was the dinner. And I'm going to talk about that a lot on the show today. So that's where I was Monday. But I'm here on Thursday. I'm back. I'm still a little bit on West Coast time, but nevertheless, I'm in the Eastern time zone. So I'm here and I'm on time. I'm going to talk about the ceremony, what this has happened in the meantime since we last spoke. Last week, I was telling you guys there's going to be a lot of changes, in the college football world, a week from now. They have happened. You had the college football championships last week, conference championships from the Big Ten to the Pac-12 to the SEC, the ACC, American Athletic Conference, all of you name them. Everybody had a conference game last week. And a lot of teams left conference weekend very happy. Well, let's say half the teams left conference weekend very happy. Another half left not so much happy, not too happy as that. And what else has happened? And then also, the Buckeyes named a new defensive coordinator. He doesn't take the job until January. So when you add somebody, that means somebody has to go. My producer and I was talking about that. Who's going? Well, we'll find out. I have an idea who's going, but that question will be answered real soon, as soon as after the bowl game. And speaking of bowl games, the Buckeyes are going to the Rose Bowl. I know you said, oh, just the Rose Bowl. And that sounds like a downer because they're not going to the college football playoffs. But it's the Rose Bowl. And if you're a real Buckeye, you love playing in the Rose Bowl, no matter, what the occasion, what it's for. So they're going with a old school feel. The Big Ten representative is going to be playing against a representative from the Pacific Coast Conference, and so the Pac-12. So that'll be a good game. It would. I mean, Utah. They have a lot of fans, but not a lot of people in Utah. So I'm expecting that stadium to be 3/4. Even though they give both schools equal amount of tickets, it'll still be Ohio Stadium West out there at the Rose Bowl, and the Buckeyes will. I'm looking for them to represent, very, very well, at that time. So that that would be awesome. It's always awesome to play in a bowl game. That means the team will get to practice more, and you get a little bit of a head start on the future of your favorite football team. No word has come out yet, but keeping my ear close to the ground. And if any of the Buckeye players that you expect to get drafted in the National Football League draft coming up in the spring, will they still opt in to play the last game in the Rose Bowl or not? I hope they all. I hope no one steps out. That's just me personally. I just don't think that. I was not a fan of players, not playing in bowl games because they want to, protect their draft status. You don't play this many games. The draft status is what it is. I know it can hurt you if you get injured and things of that nature. But I played in a bowl game my senior year with a broken foot. No way I should have been out there, but I played anyway because I wanted to be there, for my teammates and try to help us win in any way, shape, or form. I still was drafted in the first round, so it didn't affect me too much. And the teams have a lot of film on you. They know who you are at this point of your career. Bowl game could only help you. I don't think it's really going to hurt you, too much. So don't be afraid to play. Play. But that's my decision. That's where I think about it. But I want to back up for a moment and talk about the Hall of Fame, the College Football Hall of Fame. You guys, you hear the promo, College Football Hall of Famer, Keith Byars. I got selected into the College Football Hall of Fame of March of 2020. But you know what was going on in March of 2020. We was in the midst of a pandemic, still are, somewhat. We're doing a whole lot better than we were back then. And so everything got pushed back. My on-field salute that should have happened in 2020 didn't happen until 2021, at the Penn State game. And my heart goes out to all the Buckeye fans who were there, supported me that what is it, a Scarlet the Stadium, that red out, Scarlet out, whatever you want to call it. And the Buckeyes came through and won that game against Penn State. And I got honored, on the on-field salute. And, that's a memory that I'll take with me forever, especially because the Buckeyes won. I mean, the fans, they appreciated me, and I really, really, love that. And the love is twofold. I give the same love back to, the Buckeye Nation. So that was a really good night. That Saturday night in October, when the Buckeyes put that, won that football game and had to do the on-field salute. I got presented with my plaque, which I didn't get to keep because, they make the Hall of Fame, they give you 2 plaques. Just like when you win the Heisman Trophy, they give you 2 trophies, one for the school and one for you. So the College Football Foundation, and they gave me the plaque to give back to the school. So the school got to keep that one. And I had to wait until December until I get my own plaque. Well, we had the ceremonies. The induction ceremonies was this past Tuesday night in Las Vegas. So they brought us in there Monday. I didn't get there till Sunday. Well, some people got in earlier. I was trying to get there Saturday. I didn't get there till Sunday. So I was able to get in Sunday for that. And Saturday night, the Big Ten commissioner had reached out to me, Kevin Warren, and invited myself to the Big Ten championship game. Because he wanted to have an on-field salute in Indianapolis for all the players from the Big Ten who got voted into the College Football Hall of Fame or the Professional Football Hall of Fame. So I had to go to Indianapolis this past Saturday. I know it sounds like a drag, but I had to go to Indianapolis to watch Michigan play Iowa. And they had an on-field salute for us there. So it was myself, Andre Tippett, great outside linebacker from University of Iowa. Bob Stein played defense tackle for University of Minnesota in late 60s, early 70s. Jimbo Elliott, Michigan, great offensive tackle. I played with Jimbo with the New York Jets, played against him many years with the New York Giants. He couldn't attend because he had I think he had back surgery not too long ago, so he couldn't make it. And 2 other former Michigan players who got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Steve Hutchinson, the father of Aiden Hutchinson, and also Charles Woodson. So we were at the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Fame, the Big Ten Championship on Saturday night, and we had an on-field salute, and they announced myself first. And can you believe, I'm going to call them classless, gutless wonders from Michigan, they booed me. It was some Iowa people. It was a few applause from the Iowa fans, but the Michigan drowned those few hand claps away by just booing me. I'm like, I could understand if we was in Michigan, doing that, but we're a neutral site. We're in Indianapolis, but that's how it is between Ohio State and Michigan. It never ends. I know Ohio State, they wouldn't have booed a Michigan, awardee at that. They may have just maybe not clap as loud or gave him a golf clap. But you don't boo somebody, but that's Michigan folks. And I was like, And before it happened, I had an inkling. I knew it was going to happen. By no means am I surprised. I know what I'm getting to get. Charles Woodson whispers in my ear, they're going to probably boo you. I'm like, yeah, you've already talked to your fanfare about it. He said, all right, I'll try to keep it to a minimum. So then the booing happened. And then we announced everybody else and the clap for Charles Woodson and Steve Hutchinson at the end. And we're walking off the field. And Charles Woodson grabs me, puts his arms around my shoulder and said, hey, Keith, I ain't going to lie. I did sneak in a few boos with him. I know you did. But nonetheless, it was fun. And then I ended up leaving in the fourth quarter. I'm like, I can't take enough of this. I got to go home. And I didn't do anything but warm the crowd up. So when I saw Archie Griffin in Las Vegas, Archie told me, he said, Keith, I saw what happened to you. They booed me they booed me also. He said, you warmed the crowd up. And Archie, had to present the MVP, to the MVP of the game. It was Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan, because Michigan won the football game, so it's going to be a Michigan player. So when they announced Archie, it's the Archie Griffin Award. And they booed him too. So I said, Archie, all I did was warm the crowd up for you, and you closed it. But that's Michigan, folks. I'm not going to waste any more time talking about Michigan people. They know who they are. They know what they are. And come on, guys, don't do that. Don't do that. But nonetheless, let's talk about the Hall of Fame ceremony. It was an awesome event. It was one of the happiest days of my life to be there, and I have so many people to thank. I don't know where to start, where to begin, where to end, but I need to thank a lot of people. I have to thank my family. First and foremost, my mother and father in heaven, but it starts with them. There's that. My father was my first, my biggest fan. Not even close second. That's how much, the impact that my father had on me. Reverend Reginald Byars Sr. He was the man. So I love my father. I lost him when I was 23 years old. But the impact that my father made on me, well, there's not a day go by that I don't think of my father, quote my father, and be thankful for him for what all he done for me, in my life and the impact that he had. Follow closely, by my mother, Margaret Byars. You couldn't ask for two better parents. Whenever I had a game, a sporting event, I know they were going to be there. So, and the people who know me, who know them, know if anything, I'm downplaying, of how much impact, that they had, on me, and it's beyond measure. And that leads to, my brothers and my sisters, who were there. My older sister, she came out. She was able to come out. Tanya, she was able to come to the Hall of Fame ceremony, out in Las Vegas. I appreciate her, for her support. My wife was there, Monica. She was there to, to cheer me on and make sure I was dressed right and all that good stuff. So I appreciate my wife for, her support, throughout the years. And my kids, my kids were there. My two oldest biological kids. My stepdaughter couldn't make it. Lana, she couldn't make. She's still in school. She's only 14, so she had to get her studies. But my two oldest kids, Taylor, my oldest daughter, Keith the second, everybody knows him as Alan. That's my middle name, by the way. So they were there, and the impact that they've had on myself and my career. You don't play a team sport for yourself. You play for your teammates, and you play for those, who support you, over the years. And I remember, my head football coach from college, Earl Bruce, he used to always tell us football is the greatest team sport there is, because you cannot have individual success without, teammates. And, my family was certainly my teammates. I didn't step out on the football field or go to a practice without thinking of them. And, my two kids, I had to feed them. So they pushed me to work even harder, through the years. And they didn't ask to come in this world. They would, that being a parent, your kids don't ask. You have to take care of them, and the impact, that I feel about my kids is just, just beyond measure. So they were there. They're grown now. They will always still be my kids. Like, no matter how old I got, I never picked up any age on my parents either. So they will always be there. So many people to thank. My high school football coach. The greatest high school coach that a player could ever ask for. And I was fortunate to have him, Dayton's own, coached here in Rolfe High School, Roosevelt High School, Dunbar High School, the great groundhog Tom Montgomery. Excellent football coach, not just on the field, but off the field as well. And a friend, Coach Montgomery, I really, really love and appreciate all the impact that you had on me. And it's just beyond measure, to have the opportunity, to play, for a great coach who's in the Ohio High School Coaches Hall of Fame. And so you get there, by yourself. So I'm glad to have something, to have the success that I was able to have, but you need good coaches around you, for that to happen. And so Tom Montgomery, was one of that. And I know he's in the Hall of Fame, but he doesn't get enough, still underrated in my book. He still doesn't, the impact here locally, of what a great coach and his staff. was, to me and many, many other players, had the opportunity, to play for him. And speaking of coaches, I have to talk about my college coach. I mentioned him briefly, Earl Bruce, who's in the College Football Hall of Fame, well-deserved, and he's up into Angels right now. I love Coach Earl Bruce. He's a straight shooter, brutally honest with you, and that's what I like. I can always, handle that because you knew where you stood. And, to watch him 4 years, how at Ohio State. And I'll tell you how special Coach Bruce was. He had to replace a legend. Who could come in and replace the great Woody Hayes? Everybody says they want that job, but only one person could have it. And I know without a doubt, Ohio State hired the right guy at the right time, for that job. And so he was stepping in huge shoes to replace a legend and go on and have a Hall of Fame career yourself. That lets you know how special Coach Earl Bruce was, and many of us who played for him and knew the impact that we had. And here in Buckeye Nation, I think sometimes we take people and greatness for granted sometimes because we expected it. When you put on the scarlet and gray, you expect it. There are certain expectation levels for you, but everybody's not going to be a Hall of Famer. Everybody's not going to be all Big Ten. Everybody's not going to be a starter, and we realize that, but everyone can give all you have, and that's what's expected out of you as a Buckeye. Just give everything you have. That's all they want is all you got, and that will be good enough. So that when you look in the mirror at the end of the day, did you do enough? Yes. And if you can answer yes to that question, then you are on the right track. And Ohio State is going to help get you there on the right track. And you had a great coach, like Earl Bruce, who would challenge you, not just on game day, but it was the practices, were very challenging and help, get you where you want to be. One of the reasons I was about 10 years ago, I had a conversation with another Ohio State Hall of Fame coach, Jim Tressel. And Jim Tressel told me, he said, Keith, when I came to Ohio State, you were junior. And he said, you got a lot of work that first spring when I got in practice. And he said, I had never coached running backs before. I was a wide receiver coach or a quarterback coach. And he said, you got a lot of reps in practice. And, I was just, his title was quarterback, running back coach. You don't really see that combination very often, if ever, on a college level, on the coaching staffs. You see the quarterback coach or the wide receiver coach or the quarterback receiver coach, but never in a running back coach, usually it's a standalone position. Well, Jim Tressel went on to tell me, he said, one of the reasons why I got hired as Ohio State, he said, Earl Bruce had brought me in his office that summer after the spring practice. And he said, Earl Bruce told me, he said, Jim, why one of the reasons why I hired you for this job? And he was like, no, but I think you're about to tell me. He said, I named you the running back quarterback coach because of one person. And he said, who is that? He said, that's Keith Byars. He said, Keith Byars wants to be great. And he's going to push you every day in practice, because he wants to be great. And so Tressel was telling me, he said, the reason why you got a lot of reps during spring practice and more than you should have. He said, because you was wearing me out. He said, you was pushing me, asking me questions that I always didn't always have the answer to. And I'm the running back, I'm the coach. I'm supposed to know more than the player when you ask me a question about a play or why is this or why is that. And if I don't have that answer, that's not good. He said, so that I didn't have to get any questions from you. I would just keep you working. Meanwhile, so you made me study the running game more than I've ever studied it in my life. And that made me appreciate the running game and helped me become a more well-rounded coach to know the offenses from not just from the passing perspective, but from the running and the passing game. He said, because you put that pressure on me, you helped me. I needed to study overtime because I knew whenever I saw you the next day at practice or you were going to be, amped and loaded with a lot of information, a lot of questions, and you expected me to have the answers to. So it was a two-way street of my desire to see you go on and work hard and have a great season, but you was pushing me as much as a coach to have a great great year. And that's the year we went to the Rose Bowl. And that was the year I led the nation in all-purpose yards and touchdowns and rushing, and we was Big Ten champs. But that's why many times you'll hear me talk about on this show, if you want to have a good regular season, it starts in the off season. And so I'm just practicing what I'm just preaching what I practice over many, many years. So that's, what it's all about. How much time do we have, Justin, before I go to commercial? Because I'm still not talking. I got some more thanks to give out. I don't want to. I got a little time. Okay. I know it's lunchtime, guys. Pull over. Get you some leads. Get you some leads. They're open. I'm thinking. I'm taking the time out on this College Football Hall of Fame induction ceremony day to give many, many thanks. We'll talk about the X's and O's in a little while, but I need to give thanks, right now. And I mentioned, my family, and I didn't even get into all my cousins and aunts and uncles, who supported me both near and far. Many from Dayton, many from all over the country, Pennsylvania, Georgia. There's Byarses and Tremels everywhere. Yeah, Tremel. I'm a Tremel too. My mother's maiden name was Tremel. So in both sides, Byars and Tremels, huge, huge family. So I got a ton of family. But you don't get there. You don't get to the Hall of Fame alone. You got to get there, with your teammates as well. And I didn't get to Ohio State without first going to Roth High School. And at Roth High School, I played with a lot of great players and even greater, teammates. It starts with the coaching staff, Tom Montgomery, who helped assemble us kids walk in the hallways and become teammates. And when I was in high school, especially, during football and basketball season, we would go to a local pizza place. It used to be called Godfather's. And we would meet there on Friday night after a football game and talk about who we beat and who we're going to play next week against other schools. And so some guys from Meadowdale or Dunbar or Patterson, we would all get together and laugh and joke and crack jokes on each other and talk about what we're going to do to you in 2 weeks or next week when we play you in a football game. We go out and play the football game, come back, and some people was upset about what happened. They lost this, but it was still fun. It was good natured, camaraderie amongst every one of us. And then, those guys helped prepare me, for the next level. So I think all my teammates at Roth High School, it's too many, to name because I'm going to forget somebody. But if they played at Roth High School, I know them, they know me. And, I don't want to get into name calling because it'd be too many. I promise you guys know who you are. And your coworkers who said they played with me at Roth, is true. When we pushed one another. So I think all my teammates, from high school, and they helped, they made a difference. And then once it's the College Football Hall of Fame. And every once in a while, you'll meet someone that immediately you guys are going to be best friends, for a long time, not just for the next couple of years, for a long time. And I ran into that person who deserves a little special recognition. When I was a senior in high school, Ohio State had their spring football game at Ohio Stadium like they do every year. And they want their incoming class to come to the spring football game. And I went and I met my prospective roommate. And here I am, back in those days, we didn't have the internet. You just had whatever names came out in the paper. These guys are going to Ohio State, And I walk up and we just kind of knew who each other was right away. And I met Thomas Johnson, linebacker from Detroit. And I walked up to him. I said, Thomas? He said, no, man. He said, Thomas, yeah. He said, Keith, yeah. I said, hey, Thomas. He said, no, I'm Pepper Johnson. And that's the last time I ever called him Thomas ever. So he introduced himself as Pepper Johnson, to me. And, we shook hands. And it was just automatically, we're best friends. We're going to be roommates for the next 4 years. Man, it's going to be awesome at Ohio State. And we talked that day, exchanged phone numbers. My parents were like, you're going to be calling long distance on my note. So, but we communicated a few times, over the summer. We couldn't wait to report to Ohio State. once we got to Ohio State, we're in the dormitory, as we're roommates. And I can't tell you, that first 2 weeks at Ohio State, I don't even think we hardly ever slept. Me and him was up talking all night long about our goals, our family, what do we expect, what do we want to do. And I mean, I could not be in the Hall of Fame without Pepper Johnson. That's how impactful, he was on my life. Even though we were on different sides of the ball. He's on defense, I'm on offense. And we wanted the best for each other. We always pushed the best out of each other. The only drawback was, and if Earl Bruce was alive today, he would attest to what I'm about to say. We used to make him so mad. And the defensive coaches and the offensive coaches and every coach on the coaching staff. Because why do we make them mad? Because we would not hit each other. We wouldn't hit each other in practice. I mean, it got so bad one day, Earl Bruce went to yelling at Pepper. You knocked the snot out of every one of my running backs except Keith Byars. Keith, you run over all my linebackers except Pepper Johnson. What's going on with you? Because it was like, hey, my job was to make everybody look bad except Pepper. Pepper's job was to make everybody look bad except for me. We just not going to hit each other. It's like, man, so we would get each other and then we just almost stop and I'm going to start laughing and just like throw it up against each other and be like, that's it? Coach Bruce would sometimes purposely call plays, with me and Pepper on the field so that we would have to hit each other. And we just simply wouldn't do it. Even though a few times they put us on different teams in the spring game. We were like, yo, don't put us on the field at the same time. You know what's going to happen. I'm not going to tackle Keith and he's not going to run me over. So stop it. We just get there and just like fall down. But so when I finally got drafted in the National Football League and Pepper gets drafted, I go to the Eagles. He goes to the Giants. And the Ohio State coaches couldn't be happier. They said, yes, finally, for 4 years, we had to watch you guys, brother-in-law and not hit each other. Now you got to hit each other. We can't wait to watch the Eagles and the Giant games. And what me and Pepper used to do before every Eagles-Giant game, we would meet at the 50-yard line, and we would hug each other and say, hey, man, love you. Play your guts out today. And then we would step. That's the last conversation we would have. The game would happen. We would tackle each other, hit each other. And as soon as the clock went 0-0, we was both like relieved. No matter who won the game, relieved. Hey, man, where we going to meet for dinner tonight? Let's go to dinner. And we went to dinner after every Giant Eagle game. We was in New York. I would stay over in New York while the team bus went back to Philadelphia. I would have to get a limousine back to Philly and have dinner and vice versa. If the game was in Philadelphia, Pepper wouldn't go back with the Giants. He's either going to come over to my house or we're going to go to a local restaurant in Philadelphia and he'd take a limo back to New York to be back in meetings on time. That was us. But not only was we teammates, we became friends closer, than a brother. We were and still are, still the best of friends. We have never had an argument. 4 years at Ohio State, you're in your recruiting class, the coaches are taking a guess who's going to be good roommates, who's going to be not bad, they're just taking a guess. And then after the first month or so, you can switch your roommate. Everybody in my recruiting class switched roommates over the course of the next 3 to 4 years, except for me and Pepper. We always stayed roommates. Whenever we went on a road trip, you know who my roommate is. Put me in the same room with Pep. We got to talk about the game tomorrow and what we're going to expect out of each other. And even well past our playing, days, we're still the best of friends. I'm the godfather, to his kids. He's the godfather of mine. Your best man in my wedding. What more can you ask out of a friend? And that come from our relationship started at Ohio State. And we've always said, football players always say, football brings you together, but it never tears you apart. And, Pepper has always been there for me, a phone call away, vice versa. I mean, I've never called him where if he couldn't answer, it was only because he couldn't answer. He was always calling me back immediately, no matter where he is in the world, and vice versa. Our wives now, when we talk on the phone, they were like, who you talking to, Pepper? Okay, bye. Because that phone call is going Our average phone call is about 3 hours. Very seldom do we talk less than that. But that's, friends. That's how we are. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that individual, who's just not only a teammate, not just a roommate, not just a brother. We are close like that. And Pepper Johnson, the impact that he had on my life and vice versa is immeasurable. And you don't get to have, great success without those type of people around you. And I appreciate it. And I know I've missed out on so many other people that had a great deal to do with me being in the College Football Hall of Fame. Not just teachers. I mean, not just coaches, but plenty of teachers, namely the 1993 NFL Teacher of the Year. She was at Rolfe High School, but it was at Dunbar at the time. She's retired. That's Dora Carson. Dora Carson was a great impact on my life, not just academically, what she was academically, and, personally as a friend after I graduated high school. That lady and her family, the whole Carson family, have been just as a great deal have added, to the success that I've had on and off the field. Accountability and just special people to have, that would be, Dora Carson, the memory of the greatest high school principal of all time at Rolfe High School, Jim Caldwell, Big Jim Caldwell. I'm so glad that he was my principal in high school to help, keep me on the straight and narrow. I said, I will be doing thank yous for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days, but so many, and of course, last but certainly not least, the city of Dayton and the surrounding areas, who all had an impact on me going into the College Football Hall of Fame. I've had a great, great, great deal of support. Like the old African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. It couldn't be a better representative of that than myself. I can speak to that because whenever I left out of my house, there was a village waiting on me, good and bad. Which way was I going to go? But that positive village took over. From Little League baseball at First Dayton Little League, and the great coaches and friends that I met there. Chuck Taylor, Mr. Al Freeman. Just to name a few. I mean, just that friendship started at First Dayton, all the way during my football days. When I first picked up a football, when I was finally allowed on the football team in Trotwood in the seventh grade, friendship with Maurice Douglas. We grew up together playing sandlot football. So Maurice Douglas, congratulations for him getting this Springfield Wildcats to the state championship game. Came up a little short, but that's all right. It's still a great deal to be in the championship game. And Maurice Douglas played a lot of sandlot football as kids. And thank Maurice Douglas for his friendship. And so many, but the city of Dayton and the surrounding areas have been there for Keith Byars, and I don't take that lightly. And I thank you for all your love and commitment, to me, and a push and a drive to help make all those things successful. So yes, I went into College Football Hall of Fame this past Tuesday, the induction ceremonies. I got a nice watch. A nice Tourneau watch. Here it is, Justin. I got it on. I didn't wear the ring today, but I have a nice ring, a Hall of Fame ring. It's kind of heavy too. Nice. And it's got a diamond. Archie Griffin came up to me and said, your Hall of Fame ring is better than mine. They threw a diamond in yours. I didn't get a diamond. I said, well, I'm thankful. So many, many, many thanks to give on this Hall of Fame edition of the Keith Byars radio show. More Hall of Fame and Buckeye talk when we come back. In the meantime, pull over, have some Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. You listen to the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken.
It's the Keith Byars Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, right here on Dayton's home of the Buckeyes, 1410 ESPN Radio.
You may be into punk rock, soft rock, or classic rock, R&B, hip-hop, or house, country, techno, or techno country. But no matter what kind of music you listen to, here's something else you should hear. Please consider getting vaccinated. Talk to your pharmacist today about Comirnaty, COVID-19 vaccine mRNA. This message brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
What can give you a competitive edge in today's red-hot housing market? Rocket can. That's because Rocket Mortgage can give you a verified approval. It could help your offer stand out. Rocket Technology provides a rock-solid verification of your income, assets, and credit, giving sellers greater confidence in you. Go to rocketmortgage.com or call us today at 8338-ROCKET.
A verified approval is based on an underwriter's analysis of your individual financial information, appraisal, and title report. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
This holiday season, give the gift of Craftsman tools at Lowe's. With a heritage of performance and reliability, Craftsman is the perfect gift for the project people on your list. There's something for every builder, fixer, and creator you know. Choose from power tools, outdoor power equipment, mechanics tools, tool storage, and more. Shop in-store, online, or through our app, because there are more ways to holiday at Lowe's. And a gift from Lowe's is a gift that leads to more. U.S. only.
Homestead Feed and Supply is proud to introduce a new product line straight from Texas. Stock Show Secret Products and Flex Appeal. Make your project look the best. Only available at Homestead Feed and Supply. New Carlisle. Tell them the Colonel sent you.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed in Iraq after saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on through the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Words that today fuel the spirit of Travis Manion Foundation. Words that live in veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians who go out of their way to find a way, who help others with the help of others, who bounce back after each setback, who make good on good intentions. Through Travis Manion Foundation, if not me, then who, are words that can live in you too. Show the world what your character is made of, because character is invisible until it's not. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians at travismanion.org. That's travismanion.org.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
Audible is best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts all in one app. This holiday season, treat yourself with 60% off your first 3 months. Just visit audible.com for more details.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on DieHard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
Dell Technologies' end-of-year sale is the perfect time to upgrade tech. Save big on the latest computers featuring Windows 11 Pro that easily automate workflows. Don't forget to shop servers, storage, and top-brand electronics with savings up to 45% and all with free shipping. Call a Dell Technologies advisor to help you transform your digital workspaces with comprehensive end-to-end solutions. Find the right tech for your business needs at 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Fever is a potential sign of COVID or the flu, and the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Be accurate with Exergen. Exergen temporal scanners, available at Walmart and other fine retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com. That's EXERGEN.com. Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
Did you know that most adults with autism are unemployed, and a major hurdle is the lack of job opportunities? That's why Autism Speaks is teaming up with Lee Container, the J. Donald and Laurel Lee Family Foundation Fund, and Delivering Jobs to create a more inclusive workforce in the U.S. Are you an HR professional, community leader, or business owner? Join us in creating a workforce where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. To learn more, visit autismspeaks.org/employment.
Furnished by the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
If you're worried about your borderline blood pressure, hear how others are taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
Garlic works safely and naturally to support my blood pressure.
Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula has a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals, so you know it works.
No garlic taste, no garlic breath.
Take charge of your blood pressure with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Brought to you by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Welcome back. You've been listening to the Keith Byars radio show, Hall of Fame edition. A lot of talk about the Hall of Fame. I had to take a few minutes to talk about that. We're always trying to talk about sports, in the show, but I wanted to take time to give thanks for those who helped me along the way. And there's many more things to give out. They know you are, but a little football talk right now. I know some of them knows Ohio State doesn't have a game. Nobody has a game this week in college football. But one of the buzzes that's going on, congratulations, to Dayton's own Marcus Freeman getting the head football job at Notre Dame. But Marcus Freeman is a former Buckeye, All-American linebacker, who's catching a little heat right now. He's going to, he did an interview the other day. And he's talking about, having an opportunity to be Notre Dame head football coach. He went back to his high school days when he was making a decision where to go to college. Is it going to go to Ohio State, go down to Notre Dame? Those was his final two choices. He chose Ohio State. And it kind of came out, he said he wasn't going to make that decision, make the wrong decision twice. And he's like, he fell in love with Ty Willingham, and he was a coach at Notre Dame and wanted to play for him, but whatever reason why he didn't choose. So he didn't want to make the mistake again. He wasn't sure he was going to get the head football coaching job at Notre Dame, and his name was being rumored about possibly being a defensive coordinator, getting offered a defense coordinator job at Ohio State. But that never really came into being because the Notre Dame job offer came to him to be the head football coach. Of course, you'd be a head coach over at D.C., and he didn't want to tell Notre Dame no twice. And everybody like, whoa, he's saying that, if Ohio State would have come up, he wouldn't have come up. He regrets going to Ohio State over Notre Dame. Why would he say such a thing? I don't know. There's so many things to attribute it to. But some of it I'll just say youth, and he's a youth man. Marcus 37 years old, or whatever. Yeah, but sometimes even that you overlook the big picture. But I understood Marcus is probably going a little opposite right now because he's got a new job, a huge job. And I'm over the moon excited, for Marcus to have that opportunity to be a head football coach. Not only be a head football coach, be a head football coach in Division I, for Power 5 school because they're not in the conference. But he's a head coach at Notre Dame. Great, good on Marcus. I'm not going to, disparage, Marcus in no way at all because, hey, I'm a fan. He's a Buckeye brother, always will be. But I did say this. I said, I think Marcus, he knows he has a battle with Ohio State. Every year that he's a head coach at Notre Dame, they play Ohio State either on the field or off the field. He's got to win those battles and more battles off the field than on the field against Ohio State. He's got to be he's going to be in recruiting battles against Ohio State, especially where Notre Dame is located, where Ohio State is located. You're going to be fighting for the same kids. If you want to be great. I mean, if Marcus wants Notre Dame to be on Ohio State's level, he's got to go after those same kids. That's what you need to get. And he knows that. And so I don't take offense. I'm not offended. I'm not that sensitive. So I see the bigger picture, what Marcus has to say and do. But I know you're saying, well, he didn't even have to say that. I know that's where the youth and inexperienced part comes in now. Just go do it. Just go do it. And, I think over the grand scheme of things, Marcus and Notre Dame will win some battles against Ohio State. They're going to win some recruiting battles. It will come down between Ohio State and Notre Dame, and the kid decide to go to Notre Dame. That will happen. But I said battles, but they're not going to win the war. Ohio State is going to win the war against Notre Dame in the big picture when it all said and done. When was the last time Notre Dame beat an Ohio State football team? I had to look in the books. I probably think Newt Rockne wasn't even coaching Notre Dame. It's been a long time because Ohio State and Notre Dame didn't play again until the 90s when Eddie George was there. And there's an iconic picture, Eddie racing down the sidelines for a touchdown, again with the Notre Dame, with about 10 Notre Dame people, chasing him. But Notre Dame hasn't beaten an Ohio State team in the modern era. So then they play the first game of the season. So no matter how that game works out, will that be a win for Marcus if Notre Dame somehow beats Ohio State first game of the season next year? It would just be a win in the battle, not in the war. No matter how that game comes out, the perception of Ohio State is still going to be better than Notre Dame's. But nonetheless, I wish Marcus the best. I wish him nothing but the best. And I want to see him have long-term success. But eventually, what's going to happen at Notre Dame, they're going to have to join the conference. And now, which conference will that be? I think Kelly's getting out right now. Part of that, he feels the heat for the conference. At 11-1, Notre Dame team would be in the college football playoffs if they were in a conference, because they would have somebody to beat up in the conference championship game. Because eventually, what the selection committee is also telling Notre Dame, if you don't go 12-0, don't even look our way. And even if you do go 12-0, it's not a guarantee you're going to make the playoffs. So that era is coming in college football. Brian Kelly knows it's coming, so he's getting out now. That's going to be Marcus Freeman's toe to the hoe. If Notre Dame, when Marcus is there, they're going 11-1, 12-0, 10-2, and not having a chance at the playoffs. I mean, especially once they go 12-0 and some other things happen, Notre Dame not going into the playoffs. They're going to be more and more pressure for Notre Dame as the years go on to join the conference. And Marcus Freeman, hopefully, is the head coach to have to lead that team into a conference. Which conference will that be? That's to be determined. Was it the Big 12? Is it the ACC? He certainly don't want the Big Ten smoke. They'd have been done it. If Notre Dame would be in the Big Ten right now if they thought they could run away with it. If they just thought they could just step in the Big Ten and just start whipping up on everybody, Notre Dame would join the conference. They do it in basketball. They do it in every sport except football. But they don't want that same smoke against the Ohio States, against the Penn States, against the Michigan teams that they would have against Wisconsin, if they had to play them year in and year out. Then Notre Dame, that facade would start to get worn out. So don't be scared, compete. But they have their own individual TV contract, which someday will end. It's not just about TV, and we need more than that. So there's going to be more and more pressure over the next 2 to 3, 4 years for Notre Dame to finally join the conference. And Marcus Freeman is going to be, hopefully, the face to lead that charge if he wants to be, long-term success. Because that's Notre Dame seems to be one of those jobs. How many dream jobs can that be? So and a lot of people want that job. So Marcus Freeman has a job right now. If he doesn't have immediate success, because very few people get 7 years to get it right you Michigan fans. 7 years for Harbaugh to finally get it right. How many people get that much rope? 7 years to do your right, you be fired. Whatever you do, you be fired. Now, I mean, and does he really have it right? You know, being the head coach of Michigan, you got 3 big games. You know, you have the Michigan State game, you have the game, Ohio State, and your bowl game. Right now, he's 500 this year. So when they play in the semifinal, they play in Notre Dame. I mean, they play in Alabama, right, Justin? So if they get the doors blowed off against Alabama, well, Harbaugh can't win the big game.
No, Cincinnati has Alabama.
Oh, Cincinnati and Georgia. I mean, Georgia and Michigan.
Yeah, sure.
That's how closely I'm following this crap because Ohio State's not in it. So if the Georgia defense comes up and start making plays again, and, you know, they get beat against Georgia, which they should beat Georgia. I'm not that impressed with Georgia. But we'll see. We'll see how that works out. But the Buckeyes have a new defensive coordinator, and they need help ASAP. And they have it. They have Beyonce's uncle. Oh, no, it's not his uncle. His name is Jim Knowles. You know, Beyonce knows. That's where that little joke come from. So Jim, defensive coordinator from Oklahoma State, who, if you watched anything about Oklahoma State this year, you know they were winning on defense. They got a decent offense, but their defense was spectacular, you know, to watch. So I don't know who comes and who goes. Well, we know who's coming. Jim Knowles is the new defense coordinator. He won't be here till after the bowl game. So Ohio State staff will stay in place right now, but I don't know. Somebody's got to leave. Somebody got to give up the seat. You know, I don't know if Kerry Combs is going to be there. Well, I don't know, but there's going to be some reorganization on the Buckeye defensive coaching staff after the bowl game. The coaching staff will stay the same. So somebody's in lame duck status. It's not for me on this show to speculate who is and who ain't. That all handles itself out. You know, it's a business. It's a, you know, as far as the coaching staff, it's a professional business, you know, because they're getting paid. So, and that means some guys will be here, some won't. That's just the hard, cold reality. Don't mean we love you any less, but don't have enough room for you. And we all know and agree Ohio State lost 2 games this season, and it's easy to see why they lost 2 games. It's strictly on that side of the football. And like I said, football is the greatest team sports. It's made up of offense, defense, and special teams. And no matter how this Rose Bowl happens, what happens in the Rose Bowl, my 2 biggest needs on Ohio State is that we have to be better on defense. Everybody knows that. Michigan hadn't scored 40 points on Ohio State in a long time. So they scored 42 points. That shouldn't happen, not in the Michigan game. And I need to see our return game get better in special teams. We haven't had a threat on our return team since Ted Ginn. You know, that spoiled us. Every punt, every kickoff return. When Ted Ginn was Ohio State, everybody was like, must-see TV. It was, whoa, what's going to happen? Because Ted could take it at any time. We haven't had a returner like that. We haven't even we've had very few returns over 30 yards since Ted Ginn left. How many punt returns have we had over 20, 30 yards in that time span? Not very many. We're just happy with the catch or the punt. We're just happy, you know, to get the ball on the 25-yard line when we get a return. You know, so we have got to be better in those areas. Plenty of time to talk about that. We still got the Rose Bowl coming up. And we're going to play against the Daytonian in the Rose Bowl. Tavion Thomas, Dunbar High School grad, who's playing. He's one of the key weapons for that Utah Utes football team. And I'm excited about watching Tavion play. I want him to have a good game, but of course I want the Buckeyes to win the football game. But much more to talk about it. I didn't even come out with my top 10 because the College Football Selection Committee, they've named their top 10. I'm still going to come up with one, and Ohio State will move up. Ohio State is the 5th best team in the country right now for me, so I'll tell you guys a little disclaimer for that. Georgia, Whew. Okay, I guess it's asking too much for Georgia to win two big things in 1 year. I know your Braves came through, but don't expect those Bulldogs to do anything else. They got another whipping coming in the college football playoffs. If it doesn't happen against Michigan, it'll certainly happen against the winner of the Alabama-Cincinnati team. But Cincinnati, good on you, Luke Fickell. Congratulations on getting a non-Power 5 team in the college football playoffs. I want the Bearcats to bear down and go get that W. You know, I'm a huge Bearcat fan for the next 5 weeks. Always fan of Luke Fickell, but I want to see Cincinnati be the college football playoffs national champion. I would just absolutely love that this year. You've been listening to the Keith Byars radio show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe, and I am officially in the Hall of Fame, baby. Take care.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio.
Now, and you're getting it there on time and you're hustling. We appreciate you for it. And we want to hear your stories, but we also want to give you that ability to jump into the show as well. But there's some smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were talking to, was it a FedEx driver?
Yeah, FedEx and UPS called in today too.
But the FedEx guy used to work for
UPS
and said, man, they work you too hard. So FedEx is a little more